It's December 1900. Off the west coast of Scotland, the daylight fades early. 20 miles past the Isle of Lewis, 7 bare rocks rise out of the Atlantic. The Flannan Isles. There's nothing gentle about them, no harbour, no trees, just rock, wind, and constant water. Locals still avoid saying the name unless they really have to. On the tallest of these rocks, engineers built a lighthouse just a year earlier. A solid granite tower with a narrow iron staircase and a white light that could cut through fog and keep ships alive. 3 men lived there to keep that light running. James Ducat, the principal keeper, 42, steady and meticulous. Thomas Marshall, 28, quiet and reliable, and Donald MacArthur, a relief keeper, older, broad-shouldered, and a man known for a quick temper and a good heart. They had a world the size of a tower. Routine wasn't just structure, it was survival. In the morning, check the oil, clean the brass, and record the weather. In the noon, inspect the ropes, the rails, and the landing gear. And in the night, trim the wick, wind the clockwork, and record the time the light turned. Eat, mend, sleep, repeat. After a while, silence becomes the fourth man in the room. Days blurred together. You measured time by the fuel you used and the weather you recorded. After a week, you stopped expecting visitors. After 2, you forget what your voice sounded like when it didn't echo off stone. On December 15th, the steamer arch tore past the Flannans. The lighthouse should have been shining, but the beam was dark. The captain logged it and sailed on. The weather was too rough to turn back. By the time his report reached shore, storms had shut down the entire coast. It would be 11 more days before anyone could go check. A relief ship named Hesperus reached the island on December 26. The crew expected to see a flag raised, a figure on the cliff, or someone waiting to greet them. But the island was silent. No flag, no signal, and no movement. The tower stood alone against a grey sky. Joseph Moore, another keeper, went ashore to investigate. He climbed the stone steps cut into the cliff, slick with spray. Halfway up, he saw damage. A storage box torn apart, railings bent, ropes missing. At the top, the door was closed but unlocked. Inside, everything was in order. The kitchen was neat, the plates were washed, the kettle was empty, and bread was wrapped on the table. The beds were made, and the clock was stopped. Only one chair was overturned, as if someone stood up suddenly and never came back. And on the wall, one oilskin coat still hung. 2 were gone. The logbook lay open on the desk. The handwriting was steady. December 12th, severe gale, seas breaking over walls, everything secure. December 13th, storm continues, men restless, prayers said. December 15th, storm ended, sea calm, God is over all. And then nothing. Up in the lantern room, the lens was polished and the reservoir filled. Everything ready, but the wick was dry. They prepared the light, but never lit it. The crew searched the island. No footprints, no equipment left behind, no sign of struggle, and no bodies. The only damage was at the west landing, twisted iron and broken railings high above the waterline, far higher than normal waves ever reach. Weather records later confirmed that a massive storm hit that coast on December 12th. Hurricane-force winds, waves tall enough to crush cliffs. Some believe one of those waves, a rare rogue wave, struck without warning after the weather cleared. If one man went down to secure a line and the others followed, it could have happened in seconds. No time to shout, no time to climb back. That's the theory most historians accept. It fits, but it still feels wrong. When the news reached the mainland, the story changed fast. Headlines called it the mystery of the vanishing keepers. Papers claimed strange lights were seen above the island or that a phantom ship passed by that week. It didn't matter what the report said, mystery sold better than weather. Locals on Lewis had their own ideas. They said the Flannans were cursed long before the lighthouse was built. Old fishermen talked about strange lights beneath the water and voices carried on the wind. None of it could be proven, but people remembered it anyway. MacArthur drew suspicion after the fact. He had a temper, once left his post early, and that made him an easy name to blame. But men who worked with him said he was solid. The logbook, calm, precise, doesn't read like panic. It reads like men keeping order, even when they were scared. Later keepers sent to the island started reporting odd things. Tools moved, doors slammed in calm weather. One man swore he heard knocking from inside the walls at night, 3 slow taps. Another said he heard voices calling across the wind, 3 distinct voices. You can dismiss it as imagination, but after that, few keepers wanted the post for long. The board changed its rules quietly. One being, one man must always stay inside the tower. Extra supplies were stored higher and ropes kept secure. Precautions written from fear, but they stayed. By the 1970s, the lighthouse was automated. No one lived there anymore. The lens still turns, flashing white across the dark sea, but no hands guide it now. Passing ships sometimes sound their horns as they go by, not out of superstition, but respect. 3 men once lived there so others could make it home. Modern researchers studied the island again using new data. They modeled wave patterns and found that under rare conditions, a wave could indeed reach the height of the West Landing. That explains the bent railings and missing ropes. It doesn't explain the calm log, the dry wick, or the single coat left hanging. Stand on the cliffs of Lewis on a winter night, and you can still see the lighthouse beam today, cutting the same arc it's made for over a century. The sea below is endless and cold, and if you listen long enough, you'll swear you hear voices in the wind. Maybe it's just the weather, or maybe it's something else. The story of the Flannan Isles isn't about proof, it's about what silence leaves behind. 3 men vanished from a rock in the Atlantic. No trace, no reason, and no goodbye. And over 100 years later, that light still turns, steady, patient, and alone. If stories like this pull at you, mysteries that sit between reason and the unknown, please drop a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.